Today we're going to be talking about the second part of programming your 7-segment displays and creating separate subroutines. So again, before you even begin, you should have yesterday's code complete where you're able to cycle through all 7 of your LED segments. And once you're at that point, then we're really ready to move on to next steps. So, yesterday's code, I'm going to comment out all the tests. Okay, so backslash and a asterisk. Then at the end of all of that, backslash and an asterisk. Okay, so now, I'm sorry, asterisk, backslash. So now the stuff underneath of here is colored, right? And make sure that this thing is colored too. So just double check when you verify that things are still running, right? And that you put your comments and your single line comments in the right spot. So like once you've done verifying and that it doesn't come back with any errors, then you can be pretty confident that you're fine. So subroutines are whole additional like sections of code that we can pull later on. All right, and we're actually going to use this code later on when we start working on like multiple segment displays. So we're doing like a little bit more work at the front end here so that later on you have less work to do at that point. Again, there's going to be a bit of a gap between now and then, but this code's going to help you out a lot once we get there. Okay, so below our void loop, we're not even in our void loop right now. We're below our void loop. This is where we create subroutines, okay? And right now, we're just going to be creating subroutines that are also voided subroutines, which really just means like void setup and void loop means that nothing is being returned from the subroutine. Like sometimes you can have it like read a sensor or, do some counting and return like some sort of an integer to your main code. We're not going to be doing that right now. We're just going to be setting up 2 really simple things. Ultimately, you're going to have 11 of these down here. Okay, so the first one we're going to set up is what's going to be called a void reset. So we're going to type this in like this. And then underneath of here, we're going to start putting in our stuff. So the reset, the first thing the reset's going to do is we want to count by like numbers by like 1 second at a time. So the first thing that we're going to do in our reset is we're just going to delay for a second, which is basically going to avoid us having to write delay 10 times throughout our code. We just wrote it once, and every time we pull in our reset, we're going to basically call a number, call reset, which reset, the first thing it's going to do is just wait a second. So that number that we just called is going to wait for a second, and then it's going to reset everything. So we're going to digital, right, A, low, and we're going to do this all the way through G. All right, so here's my reset code done, right? Again, delay 1,000. We're going to wait a second to display the last number. Then we're going to reset A to off, B to off, C, D, E, G, all the way down to off, right? So we're going to digitally write all those segments low. So that's cool. So that's done. Let's move on to our next, which is going to be our numbers, okay? So let's start off with void 0. So again, when we look at the pinout for this thing, we need to turn A, B, C, D, E, and F on for a 0. All right, so I'm going to do that right now. So I just take all this, copy, paste. So A, B, C, D, E, and F. So I don't need G, so I'll get rid of that. Of course, all these are going to be on now. Maybe copying all this stuff was more work than it's worth. So this is going to be high. Okay, so that's my void 0. Turns 0 on. Okay, let's do a void 1 too real quick. Void 1. So again, this is going to turn 1 on. And for 1, we just need to turn segments B and C on. So digital write B high. And then digital write C high. And I just realized I got to edit my comments up here. So I'll do that real quick and I'll show you what we'll do next. All right, so just updated. So it says turns A to on, which is fine. Okay, so all the way down there. So these things aren't being called yet, okay? These are subroutines. We need to call our subroutines to make them work. And we're going to call our subroutines in our loop, okay? So in order to call our subroutine, all we have to do is write, like, let's say 0, because that's what we're going to start counting with. We're going to put an open and close parentheses. Nothing's going to go in them. Again, if these weren't void and if we were returning something, something might go in there. But for right now, nothing will. We'll worry about that stuff later on. So this will turn, again, 0 on. Okay? Now we're going to reset. And then let's do our number 1. Okay, and then so this is going to turns 1 on. Okay, and then I better do a reset or else it will not loop very well for me. Okay, so let's upload this and I'll show you what's happening here. So as this is uploading, what's coming next here is you guys got to go through and you got to create a subroutine for 2 through 9. Okay. And ultimately here we should say like 0, reset, 1, reset, 2, reset, 3, reset. You probably might even be able to figure out a way to avoid putting in all the resets up here if you think about your functions a little bit further down below. But you can do it like this too. Either way works for me. And then in the end, we're going to be left, again, you're going to be counting through 9, 0 through 9 ultimately. But right now you can see I'm displaying a 0, and then a second later it's a 1. Then it goes back to a 0, and then a 1, back to a 0 and a 1. And the point to the reset thing is like, if you didn't reset and you went, let's say, from 0 to 1, right? So 0, everything's on high, and then 1, only 2 things are on high. But if you didn't switch everything back to low again, then the segments that you had on for 0 would still be being displayed in 1. All right, so the other way that we could do this is we could set it up so that we wrote high and low for each one of these in each individual number. But I like building the reset because then I don't have to worry about it. I just worry about what's high. And then I can fit my delay within my reset here, and like, life gets a lot easier. Later on, we'll need to replace this delay with like a blink without delay code, and we'll just like fit that into that reset also. And that'll make things just easier to do later on. So again, today your test code should be commented out. You guys should start working on creating this thing counting from 0 through 9 and then repeating again. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Go from here. Bye-bye.